identify because I'm a male, and it's not. I just want to.
Okay, I don't know if I can specifically answer to that exact example, but say we have 3 people or 2 people, make it easy because there's 2 genders in this society. Let's say that there's 2 people that go into the same position. Okay, say maybe they're both nurses. Say you and me, male and female. The odds are you're going to get promoted way before I do, even if I have more experience.
Okay, well,
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So that kind of goes into this idea of how women have been devalued and they're kind of held back and they're not. They hit something called, the book refers to that I don't have on the PowerPoint, called the glass ceiling. Can somebody explain to me what the glass ceiling is? Go ahead.
Glass ceiling is an invisible barrier that is socially constructed where you could say, well, this person can only get so far in life, and there's a glass ceiling over women where, for example, we've never had a woman president, and many would say that there is a glass ceiling there. Hillary Clinton always said that we're making more and more cracks in that glass ceiling because I'm going to become president, blah, blah, blah.
Okay, so he's saying, and this is basically correct, that women, when you're looking at the hierarchy of power in a lot of businesses, or even things like politics, that they can reach a certain point and then they're stuck. And it's glass ceiling because we can't necessarily expose or see the underlying reasons why a lot of women can't make it to, say, the Fortune 500 or to, say, the President of the United States. Okay. So let's hit a couple more of these feminist theories. Radical feminism. What would a radical feminist say? Radical. Crazy. That's why I think when I think of radical, I just think of something
I don't know.
He's saying that it's an extremist.
I don't know.
What would you say? She's saying the radical feminists are the bitches. Okay.
Would the radical feminists be what we call feminazis?
Oh, okay, so he's saying, he's asking, are radical feminists the ones that are the feminazis?
Look, the radical feminists want a woman-run society.
He's saying that radical feminists want a matriarchy and not a patriarchy. First of all, let's clarify, what's the difference between a matriarchy and a patriarchy?
The patriarchy is where the power resides.
Okay, so the matriarchy is most of the power resides in women. Kind of, more or less. You can make that argument. So it's basically the opposite of patriarchy, right? From my understanding of radical feminism, is that radical feminism are a lot of time focused on patriarchy in the sense of how men have controlled women in a lot of different ways, including like control their bodies, abuse, rape, all of these different things. This is all encompassed by kind of a concept of women being less valued than men, and that men control women, and they control them in all these different ways, including the ability to abuse them and beat them up. Okay, multiracial. What would a multiracial feminist say? Yeah.
Is that not only the one put down because of their gender, because of their race, because of what they're born as? Like, any way a woman can be discriminated against, she is?
Exactly. So a multiracial feminist would take this idea of social location that we talked about, the intersection of your status in a whole bunch of different ways, not just your sex, but also your race and your class, and maybe the geography where you're born, maybe even your age. So instead of just focusing on sex, they're saying you can't describe inequality just based on sex. White women might not make as much as a white man, but black women make even less. They're both. So their argument is that you have to look at it from a whole bunch of different perspectives. So, change. There's been change. Couldn't you argue? I was talking to this gentleman over here earlier today about the statistics of doing housework and about how it is becoming more equal, that men and women are having more egalitarian roles in the home. For instance, me and my husband, he's a feminist, so we're very equal in the home. We both do the dishes, we both take turns making the meals if one of us is busy, or we share making the meals, we do it at the same time. We help each other out with the laundry. To be fair, he does more of the automotive stuff, but I clean the cat litter box. And that's way gross. The cat litter box. So. Also, there's been changes with women at work. Some of the latest statistics are showing that women actually are starting to outnumber men in the workplace. What do you guys think about that?
Well, how fast is this change happening? I know that back in the day when equal rights was coming out and women were picketing for the right to vote and the right to work and all this other stuff. I mean, we've come a long way since then. I'm just wondering how fast is that all happening? Because if you look at it, by how fast it has gone, we can get a reasonable idea of how quickly we expect it to go.
So you're talking about in terms of projecting how fast these changes are going to be happening and how fast they have been happening. If you read the context articles from this week, you'll find out that they don't really have a way of projecting this. And part of this is due to the fact that the male and female roles, where they're equalizing in different places at different speeds. For instance, there are more women getting bachelor's degree now than there are men. And according to a lot of the latest statistics, they're saying that there are more women that have jobs in the United States right now than men. However, if we're still looking at pay ratios and that, women are still less than men. And women are still pigeonholed more so into female jobs than men. Or, men are not entering female jobs. Women can enter the male jobs. But again, like we talked about on Monday, how many men have you seen as nurses or as elementary school teachers? You see a lot more women that are becoming doctors, but there's still a pay gap there too. So it's really hard to measure this and to make a projection of how it's going to change. Okay.
Another question. I know that the medical profession is a great example, and also the military is brought up. But what about even like mechanics? I never see girls as mechanics or even trying to become, wrencher and if they want equal rights, shouldn't they also be applying for that as well?
Okay, so he's arguing how come he's not seeing any female mechanics. I've had some experience with this. I have not seen somebody working on my car that was a female mechanic, but when I was in the Navy, a lot of my favorite mechs on the helicopters were female. So we gotta look at it from a couple of different angles too.
I work in lots of problems, so I don't know if I think it's just like
Okay, so she's saying
about like, oh, you fix that,
so she's saying that the guys can fix this, that you have worked for a muscular shop, so that maybe because we haven't socialized women so much to go for the blue collar, what we call grunt labor, perhaps.
So men are just good for grunt.
No, that's not what I'm saying. That's not okay. If a woman wants to have high status and high power, is she going to try and be a doctor or is she going to try and be a mechanic?
So what is she looking for though?
Again, this is really an issue of superiority versus equality. Again, it's going to kind of depend on the person you talk to, but I would argue that most feminists would say that they are not arguing for superiority, they are arguing for equality in terms of status and being valued. Okay. Go ahead. So you're saying that women want to try to get more of that higher status. They want to be equal offending those higher status positions. They want the opportunity to be either one. So he's saying that they want the opportunity to be able to choose to be either the mechanic or the doctor, but if given that choice, they're more likely to choose to be the doctor. All right, let's go ahead and wrap it up for today. If you guys have any questions or comments, let me know.